Well, it's coming up on, excuse me, 1700 hours, so I'm doing an afternoon uh, session here. Still waiting on my GPD WinMax 2. GPD uh, did contact me. They did have me send it in for warranty. They made me the offer of sending me the button to fix it. It was one of the trigger buttons that was having a problem, but being under warranty, I'm not going to deal with that. Let them do a professional repair on it. Uh, they didn't charge shipping. They sent a QR code and it got shipped in state. It's been about 10 days though, and I haven't heard back on the. I have heard contact from them that received the unit, but I haven't heard repair status, which is a little disappointing. Um, with the trigger, I'm not a gamer. I don't even use those triggers, but I wanted that kind of 10-inch form factor and the processing power, and I just really didn't find anything else in that class. Uh, I do tend to. I'm going to try to use it as a productivity box, for travel and whatnot, and that small form factor. I've used the 8-inch form factors before, and it's just too small for that kind of thing. I can totally see it for IT when you want to run around and you need a real box, and you need to be able to kind of just put it in a pocket, a cargo pocket, and run with it. But this, I was hoping to make it kind of a primary with a docking station and whatnot. So, but we'll see how that goes. There have been a couple of reviewers that have used it as a productivity box or were intending to, and I could do all the research forever and just not live my life. So at some point I had to make the plunge on that. Nobody makes what I really want, such is life. But what really got me, into refreshing the electronic, my kind of daily electronics was actually the Phoenix 8. And I'm going to update the band here. I was using Phoenix 3 for, boy, probably a decade. Um, and it's still running fine. It's been on, I don't know how many dives, tons and tons of dives. Uh, it's not a dive watch, but, I wear it on the dives and I still like the timer, and if I need to do it by table as opposed to computer, I've got that option, I suppose. But I just like maintaining my dive timing regardless. But it has been a wonderful watch. It's a little long in the tooth in terms of features, uh, and they really, really have improved it. In the new models, but no complaints about this watch. No complaints about the 3.8. It's the HR, the heart rate, but no complaints about the watch. And I've used it as a speedo when I'm cycling, and the GPS and stuff. They've just so it's just time to improve. I guess the only real mod I made that was we wound up using double keepers. Originally it came with single keepers, and it just you always were either flappy or the little the little tail would come out, and uh, that modification worked out wonderfully. And lo and behold, on the Phoenix 8, they went ahead and made that stock. Uh, but these rubber bands, um, rubber wristbands, they certainly don't breathe, and you can kind of get that 24/7, and they don't adjust. Being a diver, my dive computer is a Predator. I'm sorry, I used to use a Predator. It's the Petrel, or is it the Perdix? Uh, the Perdix, I guess. But I'm used to bungee cords, shot cord, bungee, and so I was looking at this and can I replace that with bungee, and for daily wear, and lo and behold, looking around, Garmin makes a kit for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Uh, and I was looking at this, the how to replace the pins, take the pins out and whatnot. Garmin has a great little system they came up with. You just, uh, I like it that it's a little difficult, but because you don't want it coming off, but you can just push down and they just pull off quick release style. So you can change over the bands really quickly, and you could run multiple bands, which I may wind up doing. Uh, and the same thing on the system. They're just quick release, like so, and they grip. And it comes with a little shock cord. I will say, um, the old system did use a proprietary charger, the 3, which isn't too big of a deal, and that's the price of staying ruggedized. The uh, the Garmin, or excuse me, the Phoenix 8 does use a a proprietary multi-pin setting, but you can get, they ship with just a standard cord, but you can get the USB-C adapter for that. And there's also, I found a little, oh, it's like a $20 little battery pack, a little power brick. It's designed to charge the Garmin, and it's designed to, you can clip it onto your backpack or whatever. So I'll probably just wind up using this as the charger. I mean, the primary charger. In travel, I carry with my adapters. I'll carry one of those. These are cheap as well. But so charging is a little more convenient. I mean, certainly there's still just having to deal with it being waterproof and whatnot. But so we're going to go ahead and replace this little guy here. I assume, let's see, they have the instructions. I don't know whether it would be better to do it on or off the unit. I'm going to say on, well, I guess I'll do it probably off the unit, or maybe I'll double check because I don't want to use the fire near it. But this is pretty standard. I do it with all my compasses and dive computers and things. So they just quick release on, which is kind of nice. Let's see, you do have to pull back. I was wondering if it was a kind where you could just slap on, but it looks like you have to pull back, which is absolutely fine. I would prefer having the security of that than making it convenient to just grab, which makes no sense. I do like using a double system. Some people I've seen use the continuous serpentine on their computers and compasses and stuff, but I would rather have, so they still have two, but it's serpentine around. I would still rather have two independent pieces of shock cord, just for redundancy in case one were to fail, then the unit doesn't go flying off into oblivion. They say leave about 2 inches for the knotting aspect of it. That's fine. 2 inches. I think that you just got to kind of feel it out anyway. I am going to run the knots on the inside. That's what they suggest in the little manual. Oops, so it looks like I gave it a little more relief than 2 inches, but how they have it routed is to the inside. A lot of times with dive gear, it doesn't really matter because I find with the little stop knot, I'll give myself sometimes a little more room, and then I've got a tail for the stop knot, and I just put it back under the wristband part, the part that's on the wrist. And mainly because I dive dry suits a lot, and sometimes it's different if you're ringed up, if you're ringed up for dry gloves, or if I go on vacation, I got a wetsuit on, that's going to be a lot more trim. So I'll just, I can just pull on the tail, leave a little tail, pull, and put it under. That way I don't have to constantly readjust things. This I figure I'll just be daily wear. I've already dove with it. It does have a dive mode. I still don't use watch style for my primary. I'm just never going to do that. I want the visibility of the bigger one. And, my primary equipment, I'm not going to run around with it on daily. I'm just not going to do it. So I do have the wrists of an 11-year-old girl. So I'm just kind of checking fit here. They didn't really give a lot of fit instruction, nor should they. But so it looks like about there with, say, an extra 2 inches for relief. So I'll cut it about there for the knots, relief for the knots. And since these ends fray, I'm going to go ahead and blaze them. Now, what I've found with blazing shock cord is I don't hit it with the flame because it just makes it curl. But what I do is use a cheap Bic lighter, let the metal heat up, and use that to cauterize. Maybe a little bit more. I might give it a little something, but not too much. And then just use that to cauterize, and it's pretty clean there. So maybe a little bit of flame. I've had some lighters that have been really good, and that gets really hot. So which makes them for crappy pocket lighters. But I've been able to just to do that because I don't have a hot knife here. Um, but that's just kind of an old trick. And a lot of times, if you go into somebody's Save a Dive kit, they'll have one of these, and it's all nasty right there. But I'll just go ahead and feed that through. Of course, the cauterizing probably made it a little bit harder, but that's okay. I do have a guard on the watch face, a screen protector. I've run this for 10 years in all kinds of stuff, dock work, and I'm clumsy, and it's had everything in the little screen protector, and the thing looks fine. I mean, there's been no damage to the screen whatsoever. I do still put the little piece of paper down. Look at me go. I'm not very good at this. There we are. Now, the thing about, for me, the daily wear aspect of this is, one, I want the breathability, uh, because and I do wear this sleeping because it has a sleep tracker on it. And wow, I have yet to have a good night's sleep, but that's normal for me. I don't sleep, um, unfortunately. Uh, let's see what we have here. Sorry for keep pulling on a frame. So that might be a bit generous, but I think I'd rather go proud and then, um, pull and work from there. The other thing is, uh, something I have with these kinds of action watches is I find myself, and that's why the other reason I want the bungee is run it on the outside of my jackets and whatnot, whatever kind of environmental protection gear I'm running, uh, PPE I'm running. Uh, just that's having it under, if I'm all gloved up and jacketed up and surface dry suits for jet skiing and whatnot. Uh, yeah, I live on an island, so that's how I sometimes get around is my little sea motorcycle. It's a Kawasaki. It's a real jet ski brand jet ski, which I know some people poo-poo, but it's a great way around, and I can carry a couple cylinders on it or whatnot, and it gets me around pretty good. So I will do the same on this side. And yeah, but but having it on the outside of the jackets. Now, the one thing I have found when I put it on the outside of my surface dry suit or what have you, uh, is I'm going to lose the pulse, which is fine. If I wanted to do that, I can always run a uh, torso, a chest belt, which I do for athletic training. I wear a chest sensor. The one thing I have found about running it on the outside of a suit that doesn't have to do with that is if you set the security feature up. These watches have a security feature that you choose to use or not, where once the watch is taken off, you have to enter a code when to wake it up. Kind of like a cell phone, you have to enter your security code to wake it back up. And I I found that's the problem. If I wear it on a dry suit, it thinks that I've taken it off because I assume using the pulse system to determine if I have taken it off. So then it wants me to enter the code uh, to access the watch functions. So it took me about twice to, I think that's where the 2-inch relief is. As you can tell, it's one of those first time doing it. I don't think I think I should have measured out both at the same time. Uh, I did not, which I did not do. So that's bad on me. Um, but that was a problem because it just had considered that I had taken the watch off, and so it wanted a code. I'm gloved up because I'm running around in jet ski in January, and the water's really cold, and it's asking me for codes on it, and with a gloved wrist, and the codes, entered on the watch face. Um, so that didn't work out too well. So I took that security feature off. And I'll go ahead and deal with those little tails here. if I want. I kind of like being. It's what's the classic sailor thing. Uh, the two main features of a good knot is it can you tie it and can you untie it. Not having to use a knot spike and all that, which is nice because field adjustments and things. So I get it. Uh, so there we are. Now we'll see how the comfort. It'll probably take me a day or so to get. Oh, that's a. Oh, there it goes. Okay. This one's maybe a little longer, but again, with the knots, I can always adjust it. Let's wear it for a day or so. Excuse me. See how it goes. Yeah, okay. Too much. First fit, but so often I'll do this kind of thing if for diving, is just that kind of thing. Now, if in a diving context, it works a lot better, especially with the suits. Um, This is probably not practical for daily wear in terms of that little knot. So I'll go ahead and give it a little more. I'm going to go ahead and give it a. Bring it down because of my little wrists, my dainty, dainty wrists. Let me see if I can get to it. Look at me go. Now, what was I saying about being able to untie the knots? Once I get the fit figured out, I can get another piece of shot cord and play with it. What is this? Eighth inch, 3/16, something like that. I'll measure that out. But this isn't rocket surgery. It's an embarrassment to do it in front of y'all, but that's what I'm doing. So that everybody can comment, I'm a terrible person because I'm clumsy and didn't think this all the way through. But hopefully my mistakes uh, will let you guys do it more cleanly. Uh, Definitely measure out. I will add to the description. This seems like decent shot cord, but the shot cord size it comes with it. This is the Quick Fit 26 bungee mount. I always thought bungee was a trade name. Uh, anyway, doesn't really have a lot of the description, but it's got the little manual with it. And I think it's just playing with it. So I would suggest definitely cut two pieces, make them equal, but leave plenty of tail and adjust as needed. Um, so leave a tail so you can adjust it and play with it for a day or so, and then fix it. It might be a bit aggressive, but we're going to find out. Well, seems to fit. Sorry again, I pulled it away from the thing. Still getting used to dealing with YouTubery. I could probably even go a little more, but this should give me enough to. It feels secure. I like to be able to move it over there in case there is, something there that I want to have to deal with, or the other way too, and also be able to put it over a jacket, just boop, without having to do a bunch of things. And I hate that with uh, rubber bands on compasses too, or even computers. When you're in a suit and a dry suit, and you're trying to put that kind of stuff on, especially if you're not real used to it. The buckle is just, I think, not a great system. And at depth, if your suit not, when you're using dry suit, you can still get, some variable compression, but um, you're adding air and whatnot. But into a wetsuit, if you're using a wetsuit, that compression, you get it tight, and then things compress, and then it's loose again. Um, but the bungee, kind of auto corrects for that. And it is why I like having a tail. On the dive stuff, I actually like having a little bit of a tail that I can tuck in the gloves, and I can deal with it. But I think that will work out for today. Um, so we're going to see how this goes. But so far, so good. And I've accidentally worn my dive compass around under my shirt for hours. So these are actually comfortable. I find them brief. I didn't know I had it on. I remember one time we were actually were looking for it. My uh, compass because I'd thrown on my shirt. We were diving in uh, a mineral dome, mineral crater up in Utah, and it was in the dead of winter, and so I just threw my shirt on over me, and still had my compass on because I was talking with some students, and 4 hours later, I'm like, "Where's my compass?" And you know, we called the dive shop and to see if anybody had seen one or whatnot, or if it got left anywhere, and then I'm like, it was under my shirt the whole time, so yay me. Um, yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But hey, thanks for listening, and we'll continue on. This has been really a great piece of equipment. This piece of equipment I'm extremely satisfied with. I moved to a Google Pixel 10 from a Sonam, and I'm very impressed with this unit. Sonam makes great things. Their camera is not very good on a Sonam, and they've all become sort of waterproof. And with the case, I've already dropped this uh, off of onto some tile from about 4.5 feet up, and the case held up just fine. There's definitely some scritches and scratches on the case. So, but this has been really good. I am debating whether to move to the Graphene OS, which is Graphene does support the Pixels. It's the one phone they're doing that. So, uh, something I'm considering. But that's where I am. I will release an update about where I am with the GPD, um, and we'll see where that goes. And maybe I'll cover some other things that I have found uh, made my life easier, or things that I hate to use the term EDC. It's one of those, but the cutting tools I carry and things like that. Um, uh, that I kind of carry a standard kit. We'll discuss that. But